When I signed up for real estate class, I was on my honeymoon in Costa Rica. Believe that. Fast forward, nine years later, and here we are.
Hey, I'm Travis Brown, and I build personal brands that create company profits. For the last 20 plus years, I've invested my time connecting with people, building marketing strategies, growing companies, business coaching, and yes, after 2,500 plus paid talks, my number one passion is still walking on that stage to help people achieve things they never thought possible. And this is my podcast. Welcome today. I got my first guest on the set today. His name is Drew Keller. Some of you know him as a realtor, some of you know him as an entrepreneur, some of you know him as a guy who has more side hustles than anybody else, but I know him as a husband, a father, and more importantly, as a friend. My man, Drew Keller, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, man.
Man, we're going to jump right in. First question off the bat, what brand do you think from childhood to now that just carries the most weight, you're most impressed with, that's always on your heart and mind that you always see? What's that brand for you?
The brand, well, these days, I got to tell you, being a businessman and understanding more how things work, ChickfilA. ChickfilA is a brand that I just think, they're doing such a good job and they're so consistent at what they do. And people know if you go to ChickfilA, you're going to get a good product, you're going to get excellent service. And they treat people well.
But you know what's crazy? Like when they say that my pleasure, I don't know, that kind of just makes, for some reason I get a little like, I don't know if I should like that or not.
Yeah, no. And you know what? Does Chick-fil-A have the most fire chicken sandwich in the game? I don't know. But perception is reality. And for me, I enjoy and we deserve, for our hard work, the money we spend, we deserve good service. And so whenever I think about a brand, and especially how I would like to motto my brand and people to think about my brand, I think of the customer service part, being that my main gig is a real estate agent.
And we're going to come back to that because I think one of the things that I have always respected about how you do your job as a real estate agent is that type of service above and beyond. But I want to roll back the clock because, we're successful business people today, but we go back to our humble beginnings in Lafayette, Indiana. Mm-hmm. Tell me about growing up in Lafayette, Indiana with your family.
Man, I'll tell you, it was a lot of fun, man. I got an amazing family. I've always had an amazing support system. Growing up in Lafayette, I just have so many memories, and to think of the way that I grew up and the values that my mother taught us, and to think about how I do that today, and how I take those things in my life, pass them on to my children. Yeah. It's pretty cool when that comes full circle, when you can see it.
Now you got 5 brothers.
Four
brothers. You're the 5th. When I was talking about the Keller boys.
Yeah.
So what are those dynamics like?
Oh man, we're best buddies, man. It's crazy. We
best buddies, like we fight and we still get after it. Like with each other, competitive best buddies.
We're we really don't scrap anymore. We used to get down. I remember it used to be a pecking order. Like my older brother Dwight would whoop me. I would whoop Dustin. Well, and those of you that know my brother Dustin, there's not too much whooping on him anymore. And then Dustin, of course, would beat down the twins, Damien and Duran. So it's I'll tell you, man, we've always had love, mm-hmm. love for one another, and we've had a strong family. We had some humble beginnings. The way that my kids are growing up and the things that they have and the things that they see aren't the way that we grew up at that time in Lafayette, right?
Because poverty was such a piece of our lives and our story of coming out of poverty. Yeah. How did that affect you, and did that demotivate or motivate you?
Well, it's funny. So as a teenager and a young adult, I was very angry, and felt like couldn't get out of that situation, that there was a certain place that I was going to be. I was always going to be in Lafayette, and there was a certain amount of jobs out there that I saw that were good jobs that I thought that I was going to have, that was going to be my life. Because as a young kid, as a young adult, you don't believe when people say the cliche things like, oh, you can be whatever you want, right? You just don't see it.
Well, not because, and especially when you grow up in an environment, and like I always tell people this, like all of my uncles, my aunts, my parents were all factory workers.
Yep.
I think people, they missed sometimes that that's all you see.
Right.
And as a black kid growing up in Lafayette, Indiana, there was no black professionals, there's no black business owners, there's none of those people that I looked at and I thought I could be that someday. It was like factory worker or athlete, and that was it.
Absolutely, and that's where I was going. I was immediately, when you started saying that, I started thinking of Alcoa, SIA, Fairfield, a lot of those, which they aren't bad gigs, but that was the limit, for what we saw at that time, right?
Mm-hmm. And so, if we fast forward now, you're a super successful business guy, not just with real estate, but ownership in restaurants and entrepreneurs. We're sitting in one of your homes right now that you own because you do an amazing job flipping stuff. But so how did you get from that to this?
I think believing in myself. Well, let me back up. I think, first of all, my amazing wife, I met my wife and she has been my rock and always believed in some of the things that I always used to think about, right? I think a lot, and I think about what I want to do, what I wish I could do. And my wife was, very encouraging, supportive of me, going out and chasing those goals. When I signed up for real estate class, I was on my honeymoon in Costa Rica. Believe that. Fast forward, 9 years later, and here we are. But I also have a lot of people that believed in me. And then you've heard me say this a lot. A lot of times I've let myself down, but I will never let another person down.
And we're going to talk more about the family in a little bit, because I want to get that, because it's such an important piece of who you are, and not just from a brand, but like that's just who you are. Yeah. But what I always try to figure out was, how did I get out, and then how do I help other people out?
Yeah.
Because I feel such a calling to help people do that, and your family, with all successful of you and your brothers, you guys have always done that in a lot of different ways. What's the driving factor to help so much, you think?
Because I've been helped so much. My family has been helped so much. And so for me, I think that what God's gift that He blessed me with was the different situations that I've grown up in. You can place me in the room with the biggest CEO of any Fortune 500 company, or you could place me in one of the worst hoods in the entire country, and I understand, those people. So for me, the driving factor was, I have kids, right? I brought them into this world, and I'm, raising strong. And they're women, they're girls, And we used to, when I grew up, me and my brothers, we would say Keller boys we can't produce females. And then boom, boom, boom. I think the first 7 grandkids that my mom has are all girls. So for me, I want to raise strong women, independent women who know their value, believe in themselves, know that they're beautiful, and know that anything that they want to do, they can do it. And my job as a dad is to do my best to give them the resources to find out what that is, what that talent is.
Do you think that, because you and I share this a little bit, I have 2 daughters myself, and one of the things that I think, coming from a single mother as your rock and your place of most of your life, that you have a different level of, how can I help my kids, my daughters, and other people that I know be not strong, because my mom's super strong, your mom's super strong, but maybe different opportunities, a different mindset, and create things that maybe my mom didn't have. I mean, I feel like my mom had to sacrifice so much for me, that the life that she could have lived and built for herself was second nature. I want my girls to have different opportunities than maybe my mom had. My wife's she's successful in her own right, but I guess my question is really, talk about what you really want for your girls and why do you think that's so important to you? Because I don't think every dad is that way.
I mean, that's a great question. I truly want my girls to have the mindset that they're capable of anything, and I want them to be them. They are each individually, they're very different. Yeah. And I want them to find themselves, and I want them to be leaders. I don't want them, I see so many people, I feel, that follow people and things, and in this world these days, it's about materials, it's about the way you look. I want them at the earliest age possible to find the happiness in life that I'm just now finding now, and I'm almost 39.
Oh, and you're getting old now.
Bro, I'm telling you, I got a little salt and pepper coming in, I mean, but real, like it's that's what it's about, it's finding that happiness and finding something that you want to do that truly makes you happy. At the same time, you gotta make a living to take care of yourself. But
let me ask this, because I think one of the hardest things in my life has been to be a great husband.
Oh man.
I think growing up not knowing what a great husband looks like, I had an uncle who gave me the clearest model of that, but 40 years ago. That looks different today. I definitely have my struggles and shortcomings and failures in that category. What's it been like for you to learn how to be a good husband?
Yeah, just like a lot of things in my life, I take little pieces of everything that I see that I want to be. I would see, it's crazy because a lot of my friends growing up didn't have a father in their household. And so the ones that did and the ones that had a relationship with their fathers, I paid attention to that. I didn't know that at the moment, but I would take little things like, man, I want to coach my kids. I remember a lot of kids' dads were coaches and were always there. And, so I think, I knew that I would always be there for my kids, for all their activities, let them know that what they do is important. My mom, was going to school when I was growing up. She was working 2 jobs. A lot of times, man, we grew up, we didn't even have a vehicle. We didn't even have a car. But my mom was always there. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how, she did that, but being present. Yeah. That's what I want. And, time is so important to me now. Mm-hmm. Time, I mean, I got a clock with my wife's eye on it, tatted on my arm to remind me how important time is. It goes by so fast. Man, your daughter is graduating this year. I have one that'll be a senior next year. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. I felt like I was just there, I feel like I could still be there. I mean, mentally, I'm still, kind of not mature enough to be 39, I don't think, but,
Well, let me ask this, what about mentors? I think my success has been predicated by how many mentors I've had and people have helped me along the way. Give me a couple of people that you just go, man, they were pivotal in my growth and my development.
Well, my mom. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, my mom. She is the hardest working, sweetest, kindest person that I've ever known in my life. And I think for me, mentors are people that I've able to be close to. My brother Dustin, my little brother. He's, of course, a lot of people know that he was a, big football star at Purdue, went on, he was a first round pick in 2008 to the New York Jets. What I saw him do, to get there, he was, of course, blessed with an amazing talent, but there's a lot of people that are blessed with talent, but a lot of pieces got to fall in place, and I know from watching my brother, it's what you do when nobody else is watching, you know? And so he's my hero. I will always look up to my little brother in that way because
he's
crazy.
a little big brother.
He's a little huge brother. But there's so many things that I could just say about him. My brother Duran, you know, watching him and the things that he did to, he's an attorney, and how hard he worked to get to where he's at. Just amazing. My brother Damien, I mean, I look up to all of them. Damien's in HR. He is great at what he does. My brother Dwight he has one of the largest and best, most recognized and reputable construction and roofing companies in all of Lafayette.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't have that. But today, and I also look up to you, Travis. You know you're a mentor of mine. You're my guy. You've helped me, you know, through so much. We'll get into all that, I'm sure. But I also want to give a huge shout out to my biggest mentor that I've had in my real estate career and in my adult life, and her name is Denise Silk.
And you say that, so we're going to transition to real estate because you've made this jump. You know, you're in New York, you're managing, understanding what the NFL life was. We learned a lot about that, which I'm going to come back to that in a second. But you made this jump to real estate, and now you're a super successful real estate agent. You have an amazing way that you do your business, but that's not easy. And people look at it now and be like, okay, he just sells houses. How did that happen?
So how it happened, I got into real estate, and I, just like everybody else, on my home watching $1 Million Listing in New York, and was like, dang, I'm trying to, you know, that looks so easy. You talk on the phone, put together a deal, go to closing, and get a $200,000 paycheck. That's not how it works. So no, when I got into real estate, man, it was interesting. So I got licensed, started working at FC Tucker. I had a few transactions kind of land in my lap because some of my friends and family knew that I was about to pursue this career, and so they were kind of waiting on me to get licensed, and I had about 3 or 4 transactions kind of lined up. Mm-hmm. When those transactions closed, is when I learned that this isn't as easy as it may seem, you know, and how to go out there and find the business.
Actually, I remember we lived in a condo at the time, Bree and I did. I remember putting up a strategy for you when you were at FC Tucker. Yeah. And this is when you were trying to get to be a $2 million agent. You're like, man, if I could get to be a $2 million agent, was the conversation, right? Yeah. Yeah. And thinking about brand and position, all those kind of things. And now I see what you've done. And there's been some jumps in there. What is it you've learned, and talk about the people that did help you get there?
I'm going to jump right in and tell you when this happened for me. You know, I went and I worked at Remax as my broker. I met a woman who means so much to me. She cannot possibly understand, you know, what she means to me. Denise Silk. Denise, I met her at Remax, and she gave me the opportunity. She's very successful, Geist waterfront agent, had a chokehold on that market, right? Well, she was very busy, needed help with open houses, you know, showing buyers, you know, listings, all that stuff. And whatever she saw in me at the time, she gave me the opportunity to help her with her business. She would invite me, I would go to her house every morning for such a long time at about 7:30 in the morning, 8 o'clock, and I would sit and learn and watch her, what she did, how she did it, the way that she said it, everything. I remember going to Staples and buying the same folders that Denise used for her documents at the time. I mean, at the time we weren't, you know, all doing electronic signatures. Right. So, I mean, everything. I mean, full disclosure, I was so excited that I would be sitting down the street from her house 30 minutes before I was supposed to be there because I was so like, oh my gosh, I can't let her down. I need to take this in. I need to learn this. And again, going back to it,
she believed in you.
She believed in me, and she believed in me the way that I did it, the way that she believed in Drew. I talked different. I looked different. I I dress different. I mean, absolutely.
Hey, not everybody can wear those rhinestone, red bottoms.
Hey, it's me, my personality, just a way for me to kind of express myself.
See, here's what some people don't know. So we have a friendly competition about what we wear, what we dress when we're around each other. And so he's already flossing because he put his up there, and I put my little red Jordans up here. And here's the problem is my little red Jordans can't compete with those. And so every time I think I got a little something, then he's going to put something on. And here's what I've learned about D. Keller is you can't outdo him. You can't outdo him. I may have 40 pair of these, but that means he's got 80. And it's always like that.
To me, it's just, we all have our vices, shoes, and, fashion is just one of my things. But I'll tell you, like, a lot of people think that about me, what you think, but this will never, define me. I'll tell you. I love nice stuff, but not that big of a deal. But I appreciate the shout out on the red bottoms, you know what I'm saying? But going back to Denise, man, I'll tell you, Liz, I wouldn't be sitting here with you, Travis. I mean, I'd be sitting with you, we would still be friends and all that, but we probably wouldn't be talking about my real estate success if it wasn't for Denise giving me the opportunity. I will forever be grateful. I love her. If she ever needs anything from me, I would leave right now to head to Boca Raton, Florida, to be there for Denise.
And I think what's been amazing to me in watching your real estate career is I feel like that's how you offer your clients. Mm-hmm. Why is that so important?
Why what?
I feel like the level that she would go to for you, to believe in you, I thought you believe in every client that way. You believe in every potential person, their house, their story, and it's like it's way more than a transaction to you. This is it means more. Why?
It is. Because I know how important this is to the people. I mean, for a lot of us, your real estate or your home is going to be one of the biggest financial thing that you will ever do in your life. I've done, $1 million transactions, but I'll tell you, the transaction that is near and dear to my heart is one of the lowest volume transactions that I've ever done. Growing up, we lived in rental houses, from rental to rental. My mom, was blessed to own her first home when my brother got drafted. My brother Dustin bought her first home. So I always think about that. I treat people all the same. I don't care if it's a $50,000 home or a $2 million home. It's important to me because my mom would have been that $100,000 buyer, right? If she was fortunate enough at the time growing up to be able to purchase a home. So that's what I keep to my cuff, and that's why, I'm just cut a little bit different.
So successful definitely from real estate, but you have a bunch of other investments. I joke and say, like, dude's got so many side hustles. He's buying a trash truck this day. He'll be on eBay buying this, flipping that, doing that. Some restaurant, investment stuff. Talk about some of the other things that you've done and why those have been important to your overall Keller empire.
Yeah, well, I've been able to use real estate as a resource to invest in other things. I treat the money like little soldiers to go out there and work, right? So yeah, for me, because this business is scary, right? A lot of things in real estate are out of my control. I'm 100% commission. If the economy goes to crap, or I'm always 30 to 45 days away from my next closing. And so for me, residual income, and I was, taught that by, lots of other people, but residual income is always important. And I think for me in real estate, having residual income coming in allows me to do my real estate job the way that I feel it should be done.
But you're talking about real estate as in property ownership or investing in short-term stuff like that to then do your real estate business separately.
Right. Well, yeah. The money that I make, in commissions or, my professional fee for real estate, I always do the right thing with it. I have goals, but I put money in places to do other things. You mentioned the trash truck. I think it might be here. We're sitting at, one of my houses. I think it might be out back. I bought a dumpster, right? And people laughed at me, but it's like, I've made money off of that. I was, I'm investing and I'm flipping, properties, and I realized, man, I'm spending a lot of money on renting these cans. And it's like, no, I'm just gonna buy one. I'm just gonna buy one. I have it, I own it, it's mine. I can use it for my properties, and now I can let my clients use it.
Let's talk about it. So there's something that I know, right?
Yeah.
So you got the trash can.
Yeah.
That business, right? You bought a moving company at one point in time.
Yes, sir.
You a hard money lender at sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Investor in apartment buildings, complexes, and things like that, right?
Yeah.
A little bit also in the restaurant business.
Restaurants.
So you've done that. I don't know if you want to talk to us about some of that, but what are some other side hustles that people just laugh if they knew you're hustling?
Oh man, others.
First of all, he's a shoe hustler, right?
I am.
So when Nike drops Jordans, he'll buy like 4 of the kind.
Absolutely, I'll buy, because people think they look, oh my gosh, he's got all the shoes. And full disclosure, I have a lot of shoes, but
Hold on, how many pair?
oh, what, Jordans or all together?
Let's start with Jordans. Rough estimate.
60, 70.
Okay.
Clean though. I'm talking about wearable kicks.
Okay. And then total shoes.
Well, I gave away a lot of pair over the summer, but I probably still have 150 pair of shoes.
Okay. So note that some of them you're hustling though because you'll buy 3 or 4 pair and you'll sell them.
I'll buy 3 or 4 pair of shoes, and in hopes to get mine for free. But sometimes, I have shoes in the archive, just sitting up, and one day, I'll be able to pass them on to my nephews or my daughters, or times get rough, I'm hustling them.
So and always an entrepreneurial mindset, looking at stuff, and I always appreciate that. But let me ask you this: what scares Drew Keller?
Oh my gosh, I think that, oh man, a lot of things scare me. Time scares me.
Why?
Time goes by so fast. Watching, how quickly my kids are growing up. The time that I spend working, I am giving up time with my family, my friends, and so time is is everything to me.
Well, let me dig a little deeper there, because I have my own hidden demons and about how I grew up and what's important and what my fears are. But are you scared to fail?
Yes and no. I am willing to go out there and get it, right? I will sacrifice and invest in myself because I believe in the things that I'm capable of doing. I deal with, another thing that I deal with, I have severe depression. And so I'm either high or low. And for me, I always have to be on, meaning sharp, on it. People expect, a certain thing from me, and sometimes it's overwhelming. Let me
ask you this question: do you have to be on, or is that your pressure you put on yourself to have to be on?
Well, I always tell people there's no amount of pressure that they can put on me that I don't put on myself. But when you're dealing with multiple, let's say you have 10 transactions going on at once, in real estate, you have, different people with different situations, different, timing. That's a lot to juggle, and they're all counting on me. So sometimes I have to take a step back and I think about that stuff, and it gets to be, a little bit overwhelming, sometimes.
So you talked about the being scared, not really scared to go out and put your money out there and hustle.
Yeah.
Are you scared to fail as a husband and father? And the reason why I ask you this is because I think that's probably my greatest demon. Like I do not want to fail my wife, And I've been through a first marriage, so I definitely didn't want to mess up the second one. And I didn't want to fail my kids because I felt like my greatest calling in life was to be a hero to them and to be that for them. And so I bared a lot of that. And so, are you scared to fail as a husband and a father?
Yes, but I will not fail as a husband and father, and I'll tell you why. When my wife was pregnant, I was very, scared, and I remember talking to my mom and saying, I don't know if I'm going to be good at this. How can I do it? And all these emotions.
Right.
And she told me, you're going to be great. You want to know why? Because of what you just said. Because you care. I can't fail. I love them entirely too much. Mm-hmm. So no, I'm afraid of not being able to give them the resources that they need to let their wings spread and to have all the opportunities in the world, but I will not fail as a father.
So a couple last questions, we'll wrap this up. So what motivates you?
My kids, and I'm naturally a competitor. I want to show people that I'm just as good, if not better. I mean, sometimes I think the people that don't know me, you know me well, and so sometimes it may look that, oh, he's cocky. Nah, I'm confident, and I've worked hard to learn my trade, and I deserve to be confident, and I am.
So we spent a lot of time together just talking about marketing and branding and growing. So, what have you learned about marketing yourself and building your personal brand?
Most importantly, be me. Your true colors are going to come out at some point. There's not a right or a wrong way to do it. About being consistent, caring, and it's funny. You've told me so many things to do. It is about just doing them, right? I remember now you're talking a lot of the stuff that we've talked about and been building for years. I'm pissed off that you kind of teaching and talking to other agents about it. I mean, full disclosure, but nobody can be me. Nobody can do it the way that I'm going to do it. And at the beginning of real estate, I thought I had to be like so many of these older, the old school real estate agents, and I don't have to be. I can, effectively do my job just being me, and I love it. I love it.
I'm gonna put you on the Mojo hot seat in a minute with some quick answers, but last question for you is, 10 years after Drew Keller's gone, and somebody's telling a story about Drew Keller, what do you want them to tell? What's the legacy like?
My legacy, I want, I was just thinking about this because I was at a funeral the other day. I want people to tell my kids the type of guy that I was a good friend, I was a good brother, I was a good son, I was a good nephew. I want them to tell stories about my character, not things. I want people to remember me by, the way that I treat people. I treat people, everybody, the same with the utmost respect. I was raised to teach the custodian in the building the same way as the principal. Now, back in those days, when I was a young man, a hothead, I really didn't understand that.
Right.
But now, some of the people that I look up to most in my life are the doctors, the educators, the military personnel. Those are heroes. Like, to me, I look at athletes, we'll just say athletes because a lot of people put them on a pedestal. I think some athletes deserve that, right? But I think other people don't do what they need to do with their stage, right? And so I want my kids and I want people to remember that Drew was a good man. He had a big heart. He, was a man of integrity. And, if if I can do that, as long as the people that live under my roof and, you know, my daughters, you know, remember that about me, honestly, I could give a damn, you know, what anybody else can assume if you don't know me.
So throwing you on the hot seat. So I'm going to give you a word, and I just want you to tell me the first thing that comes to mind when I give you when I throw these words at you, right?
Oh damn! Hey, this might get messy.
We can edit anything. Here we go. All right. Money.
Oh, money.
Just
a resource.
Marketing.
Drew Keller.
Business.
Hustle.
NFL.
Dustin Keller.
Clients.
Family.
Your hustle.
Never stops.
Your mom.
Wonderful. Beautiful.
Casey Keller.
My rock. The person that allows me to be me, and the best mother I could possibly have for my children.
The last one, the Keller girls.
It's the reason why I was born. The reason why that truly my heart, my inspiration, I'm sorry, I cannot give one word, like it's an emotional thing to me, and I'm so proud to be their dad.
Mm-hmm. My man. Thanks for sitting down and rapping with me, man.
Thank you, brother, for the full disclosure. Hold on. I thought, you know, people say you're supposed to save the best for last. This is your first podcast. What the hell am I doing here?
No, see, it's the first and the last. See, I have no idea when the last is going to be. Matter of fact, there may never be a last that I'm in control of, but I'm in control of the first, and I chose you.
So, my dog. I get it.
It's a wrap. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.